Help echoed through the stars. The most feared species responded. Part 1. The stars were cold and silent. They did not care about the suffering below them. They did not care about the 23 ships floating in the darkness, their engines dead, their lights flickering like dying candles. Ambassador stood at the window of his flagship and watched his people die slowly. They were a gentle species. They had soft blue skin, large dark eyes, and thin bodies built for their calm home world. They were not made for war. They were not made for running. But that was all they had done for the past 3 months. The Empire had come to their world with fire and chains. They called the resources and property. They burned cities and took prisoners, had gathered everyone he could and fled into space. 23 ships carrying 40,000 souls. Men, women, children, and elders. All of them scared, all of them tired, all of them running out of time. Ambassador, said his assistant, a young female named, her voice was shaking. Life support on ships 7 and 12 will fail within 6 hours. The medical supplies are gone. The children are getting sick. Closed his eyes. He had tried everything. He had sent messages to the Federation. No answer. He had begged the militant collective for protection. They said it was not their problem. He had even contacted the Galactic Council itself and had told him clearly that no one would risk war with the Empire for a small species like the. They were alone. Send the distress call, said quietly. On all frequencies, every channel, let the universe hear us. Looked at him with fear in her eyes. All frequencies. Ambassador, we do not know who might answer. What if the wrong species finds us? We are dying. Anyone who comes is better than no one. She nodded slowly and walked to the communication station. Her thin fingers moved across the controls. The message went out into the cold darkness of space, traveling at the speed of light in every direction. This is Ambassador of the refugee convoy. We are stranded in Sector 774. Our engines have failed. Our life support is dying. We have 40,000 civilians, including children and elderly. Please, if anyone can hear this, we need help. We will accept any assistance. Please, we are begging. The message repeated itself over and over, watched the stars and waited. Hours passed. The ships grew colder. Mothers held their children close to keep them warm. Old ones wrapped themselves in blankets and prayed to gods who seemed very far away. In the medical bay, doctors tried to save the sick with nothing but hope and kind words. Then the communication station made a sound. Jumped in her seat, her eyes went wide. Ambassador, we have a response. Rushed to her side. Hope bloomed in his chest like a flower in spring. Someone had heard them. Someone was coming. But then's face turned pale. Her hands began to shake so badly that she could not operate the controls. What is it? Asked. Who answered? It is them, Ambassador. Her voice was barely a whisper. The signal is coming from a human vessel. The word hit like a physical blow. Human, the most feared species in the known galaxy. The monsters from the death world called Earth. Every child in the galaxy knew the stories. Every species told the same warnings. Humans were pursuit predators. They chased their prey for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. Humans formed pack bonds with anything, even wild beasts and machines. Humans survived on a world filled with poison, radiation, and natural disasters. They could survive extreme heat and extreme cold. They could lose limbs and keep fighting. They healed from wounds that would kill any other species. Himself had broadcast a warning across the galaxy just last year. He had shown images of human soldiers, their eyes cold and focused. He had explained their history of war and violence. He had said that humans felt no fear, knew no surrender, and never forgot an enemy. And now a human ship was coming to them. What do we do? Asked, tears forming in her large eyes. Ambassador, what do we do? Around them, others had heard the news. Panic spread through the ship like fire, heard crying from the lower decks. Parents were hiding their children. Guards were reaching for weapons that would do nothing against a human. His mind raced. They wanted to enslave them. The humans might kill them all, or worse. There were stories about what humans did to species they did not like, stories about experiments and cruelty. But there was no one else. No other ship had answered. No other species had come. "Let them come," said. His voice was steady even though his heart was pounding. "We have no choice." The communication station crackled again. A voice came through the speakers. It was a female voice, strong and clear, speaking in standard galactic language with a strange accent. "Convoy, this is Captain of the human vessel Horizon's Edge. I received your distress call. I am changing course to your location. My estimated arrival time is 4 hours. Can you hold on until then?" Stared at the speaker. The voice did not sound like a monster, it sounded concerned. "This is Ambassador," he replied slowly. We can hold on, but I must ask, why are you coming? Why would humans help us?" There was a pause. When the voice returned, it sounded confused. "You sent a distress call. You need help. What other reason do I need?" Did not know how to respond. He had expected demands. He had expected threats. He had not expected such a simple answer. "We have nothing to offer you," he said. "We have no money, no resources, no value to anyone." "I did not ask for payment, Ambassador. I asked if you could hold on. So can you?" And looked at each other. Neither understood what was happening. This was not how humans were supposed to behave. "Yes," finally said, "we can hold on." "Good, keep your people calm. Tell them help is coming. Horizon's Edge out." The communication ended. Silence filled the bridge. Turned to look at his people, their faces filled with fear and confusion. "You heard her," he said. "Help is coming." "But they are humans," someone whispered. Looked back at the stars. Somewhere out there, a human ship was racing toward them. He did not know if this was salvation or doom. He only knew that they had no other choice. "May the stars forgive us," he whispered, "for what we have summoned." 4 hours. They had 4 hours to prepare for whatever came next. Began to pray, though he was not sure anymore who was listening. Help echoed through the stars. The most feared species responded. Part 2. The Horizon's Edge was not a large ship. It was a patrol vessel built for speed and long journeys, not for war. Its hull was gray and covered with scars from old battles. Some of those scars had been painted over. Others had not. The ship looked like a survivor, like something that had seen hard times and refused to die. Inside the ship, Captain stood at the center of the bridge and studied the information on her screen. 40,000 refugees, 23 ships, failing life support. No weapons, no defenses. They were completely helpless. "Sung," she called to her medical officer, "what do we know about biology?" Sung looked up from his station. He was a tall man with kind eyes and steady hands. He had been a doctor on Earth before joining the space fleet. Now he healed aliens as easily as he healed humans. "They are carbon-based," he said. "They breathe oxygen like us, but they need a higher humidity. Their bodies are fragile compared to ours. Thin bones, weak muscles. They probably evolved on a very calm world with low gravity and mild weather." "So they break easily," said Dongwu from the tactical station. He was younger than the others with sharp eyes that missed nothing. "And they are running from those guys are brutal." Nodded. She knew about the Empire. They were conquerors. They saw other species as tools to be used and thrown away. The thought made her stomach turn with anger. "How long until we reach them?" she asked. 3 hours and 40 minutes, said from the communication station. She was small but fierce, with a quick mind and a warm smile. "Captain, I have been listening to the chatter on other channels. No one else answered their distress call. 30 species heard it. None of them responded." "Why not?" asked Bai, the ship's engineer. She was covered in grease as usual, always fixing something, always improving the ship she loved like a child. "Because they told everyone to stay away," said. They claim they are their property. Anyone who helps them will be considered an enemy of the Empire. The bridge went quiet. Everyone understood what that meant. By going to help, they were putting themselves in danger. They would not be happy. "Do we care?" asked. Her crew looked at her. Then one by one they smiled. "Not even a little bit," Dongwu said. Nodded. "Good. Then let us get ready. Sung, prepare the medical bay. I want everything we have ready for patients. Bai, check our repair supplies. Those ships have failing life support. We need to fix what we can. Keep trying to calm the down. They sound terrified." "They are terrified of us," said quietly. "I have been listening to their internal communications. They think we are coming to eat them." Everyone stopped what they were doing. "Eat them?" Bai said. "Why would they think that?" Pulled up a file on her screen. "This is a broadcast from the Galactic Council. He sent it to every species in the known galaxy last year. It is called Warning About Humanity." She pressed play. A voice filled the bridge, cold and serious. "Citizens of the galaxy, I must warn you about the species known as humans. They come from a death world called Earth, a planet so dangerous that 99% of all species that ever lived there are now extinct. The humans survived by becoming the most efficient predators in their world's history. They are pursuit hunters. They do not ambush their prey. They chase it. They follow it for days, never stopping, never resting until their target collapses from exhaustion. Then they strike. Humans form pack bonds with anything. They have tamed wolves, which are deadly predators. They keep them as companions. They bond with machines and objects. They talk to their vehicles and weapons as if they were alive. Their bodies can survive extreme temperatures, from burning deserts to frozen wastelands. They can lose entire limbs and survive. They can be poisoned, burned, and broken, and they will keep fighting. Do not trust them. Do not approach them. If you see a human, run." The broadcast ended. The bridge was silent. Then Dongwu laughed. "That is the most dramatic thing I have ever heard." "It is not funny," said. "They really believe this. The whole galaxy thinks we are monsters." Felt something heavy in her chest. She knew humans had a reputation. She knew other species feared them. But hearing it like that, hearing how the galaxy saw her people, hurt more than she expected. "We are not monsters," she said quietly. "We are just different." "Different is scary when you do not understand it," Sung said. "These have probably never met a human before. All they know is what they have been told. We have to show them the truth." Straightened her back. "Then that is what we will do. We will show them who we really are. Not the monsters from the stories, just people who want to help." The hours passed slowly. The crew prepared everything they could. Sung organized medicine and medical tools. Bai packed repair kits and spare parts. Recorded messages in a soft, calm voice, trying to comfort the scared refugees. Dongwu checked the weapons systems, just in case they showed up. As they got closer, received more information. The situation was bad, very bad. 2 ships had lost all power. The people inside were freezing. Children were sick with a lung infection that spread quickly in the cold, damp air. The food was almost gone. Clean water was running out. "They have been running for 3 months," said. 3 months with no help. No one in the entire galaxy would even talk to them. Felt that anger again, burning hot in her stomach. 40,000 people, including children, left to die because everyone was too scared too scared to do the right thing. "Not anymore," she said. "We are here now." The horizon's edge dropped out of faster-than-light travel. The convoy appeared on their screens. 23 ships, dark and silent, floating in the void like dead leaves on a still pond. Opened a channel. "Convoy, this is Captain. We have arrived. Do not be afraid. We are here to help, nothing more. I am going to bring my ship alongside your flagship. Please prepare for docking." There was a long pause. Then Ambassador's voice came through, shaking with emotion. "Captain, we see your ship. We see you coming. I want to believe you mean us no harm, but we have heard such terrible things about your kind. Please, please tell me those stories are not true." closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, her voice was gentle. Ambassador, I cannot control what stories people tell about humans. I can only control what I do. Right now, I am going to dock with your ship. My doctor is going to treat your sick. My engineer is going to fix your life support. My crew is going to bring you food and water. You can decide for yourself what kind of species we are. The communication went silent, then softly spoke. We will open our docking port, please. Be gentle with us. We have suffered so much already. I know, said, but your suffering ends today. Help has arrived. She ended the call and looked at her crew. They were ready. They were nervous, maybe even a little scared, but they were ready. Let us go show them what humans are really made of, she said. The horizon's edge moved forward, its hull glowing faintly in the starlight, approaching the broken convoy like a guardian coming home. Help echoed through the stars. The most feared species responded. Part 3. The docking clamps connected with a heavy sound. Metal met metal. Two ships became one. And on the flagship, 40 terrified aliens waited to see what would come through the door. Ambassador stood at the front of the crowd. His legs wanted to run, but he forced them to stay still. Behind him were his guards, their small weapons raised and ready. Behind them were the people, pressing against the walls, mothers covering their children's eyes, old ones whispering prayers. The airlock door began to open. A rush of warm air came through first, then light, then footsteps. Captain stepped through the door and stopped. She looked around at their terrified faces, at the weapons pointed at her. Her expression was calm but sad, like someone seeing something that hurt their heart. She was smaller than expected. The story said humans were giants, massive predators with muscles like stone, was average height with black hair tied back in a practical style and dark eyes that seemed to look right through him. She wore a simple uniform, dark blue with silver buttons. No armor, no weapons visible. Behind her came more humans, 4 of them. A tall man carrying medical bags, a young man with sharp, watchful eyes, a small woman with a gentle face, a woman covered in grease stains carrying a heavy tool bag. 5 humans, that was all. 5 humans against 40,000. And not one of the humans looked angry or hungry or cruel. They looked tired. They looked concerned. They looked kind. Raised her hands slowly, showing they were empty. Ambassador, I am captain. These are my crew. Sung is my doctor. He would like to start treating your sick immediately. Bai is my engineer. She needs to see your life support systems. May we begin? His mouth was dry. He had prepared a speech about terms and conditions and protection. But looking at these humans, at their open hands and worried faces, the speech died in his throat. You truly came to help, he asked. You want nothing from us. Tilted her head as if the question confused her. You asked for help, we came. That is how it works. That is not how it works, said. Not anywhere in the galaxy. Everyone wants something. Was quiet for a moment. Then she took a step forward and the guards raised their weapons higher. She stopped and spoke softly. Ambassador, your people are dying. Children are sick. Your ships are failing. We can argue about politics and payments later. Right now, please let my doctor help. That is all I ask. There was something in her voice that did not expect. It was not the voice of a predator. It was the voice of someone who truly cared. He lowered his hand, signaling the guards to lower their weapons. Very well, help them. What happened next would be talked about for generations. Sung went to the medical bay and found chaos. Hundreds lay on beds on the floor against the walls. Many were children with the lung sickness. The doctors looked exhausted and hopeless. The tall human doctor put down his bags and rolled up his sleeves. I need everyone who can still walk to help me. We are going to save every single one of these patients. Do you understand? Not one will die today. He worked like a machine, but with the gentle touch of an artist. His hands moved fast but carefully. He showed the doctors how to use the human medicines. He explained everything he did. When a child cried, he held her hand and spoke softly until she calmed down. On the engineering deck, Bai found the life support system and let out a long whistle. "This poor baby, what did they do to you?" She talked to the machine as she worked, calling it names like Sweetheart and Dear One. The engineers watched with confusion as this strange human treated their ship like a beloved pet. But within 2 hours, the air was warmer. The lights were brighter. The machines hummed with new life. "There you go," Bai said, patting a pipe like it was a dog. "All better now." Went to find the children who were too scared to go to the medical bay. She found them in a storage room, hiding behind boxes, their large dark eyes full of fear. She sat down on the floor, making herself small and harmless. From her pocket, she pulled out a small device that showed pictures. "Do you want to see something wonderful?" she asked. The children did not move at first. Then one brave little girl crept forward, showed her a picture of Earth, green forests, blue oceans, mountains covered in snow. "This is my home," said. "It is called Earth. It is very far away." More children gathered around, drawn by curiosity despite their fear, showed them pictures of animals, dogs and cats, elephants and whales, butterflies and birds. "We have these creatures on our world," she said. "Some of them are our friends, some of them we protect. This one is called a puppy. We keep them in our homes and they sleep in our beds." "You sleep with predators?" a child asked, shocked. "They are not predators to us, they are family." The children looked at each other. This was not what the story said. The story said humans ate other creatures, not loved them. Played a video of a human child playing with a golden puppy, both of them laughing and rolling in grass. The children watched with wonder. On the main deck, walked with Ambassador through the ship. She saw the damage and the suffering. She saw families sleeping in hallways because there were not enough rooms. She saw food containers that were nearly empty. She saw it all, and her face grew more serious with each step. 3 months, she said. "You have been running for 3 months and no one helped you." No one wanted trouble with this, said, and everyone was afraid of humans. We were trapped between 2 fears. "Stopped walking, and yet you accepted our help. Why?" "Thought about it. Because when I heard your voice on the communication channel, you did not sound like a monster. You sounded like someone who cared. I decided to trust that sound." Smiled. It was a small smile, but it changed her whole face. She no longer looked like a soldier. She looked like a person with a good heart. "Thank you for trusting us," she said. Their conversation was interrupted by Dongwu's voice on the communicator. His tone was sharp. "Captain, we have a problem. Long-range sensors have detected warships, 12 of them. They are heading this way." The air seemed to freeze. Felt his heart begin to pound. 12 warships, against 1 small human vessel and 23 broken refugee ships. "How long?" asked. 2 hours, maybe less." Was silent for a moment. Then she turned to. Her eyes had changed. The softness was still there, but now there was something else, something hard and determined. "Ambassador, I need you to gather your people. Tell them to stay calm. Tell them that help is not leaving." "But 12 ships," whispered. "You cannot fight 12 ships." Looked at him, and for the first time he saw something in her eyes that made him understand the warnings about humans. Not cruelty, not hunger, but something more frightening. Absolute refusal to give up. "Watch me," she said. She walked back toward her ship, already calling orders to her crew. Stood in the hallway, his heart full of fear and something else he had not felt in months. Hope. Help echoed through the stars. The most feared species responded. Part 4. The fleet came out of faster-than-light travel like sharks rising from dark water. 12 warships, each one bigger than the horizon's edge, each one bristling with weapons and filled with soldiers who had never known defeat. Commander stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the sensor display with satisfaction. There they were, His property, his prey. "Sir," said his tactical officer, "there is a vessel attached to the convoy. It is human." Felt a small surprise. Humans. He had heard stories about them, of course. Everyone had. But the Empire did not fear stories. The Empire was strong. The Empire conquered. "One ship?" asked. "One human ship against 12 of ours?" "Yes, Commander." Laughed. "Open a channel. Let us speak to these humans." On the horizon's edge, sat in her captain's chair and waited. Her crew was at their stations. Dongwu had his hands on the weapons controls. Bai was ready at engineering, monitored all communications. Sung stood nearby, ready to treat any wounded. Captain said, "The commander wants to talk." "Put him through." A face appeared on the main screen. They were tall and gray, with hard eyes and teeth that looked too sharp. Commander looked at like she was an insect. "Human vessel," he said, "I am commander of the Empire. You are protecting property that belongs to us. Give us and you can leave. Refuse and we will destroy you." Did not move. Her voice was calm. "These people are not property. They are refugees. They asked for help and I answered. They are under human protection now." Blinked, then he laughed again, louder this time. "Human protection, one small ship. Are you stupid or just crazy?" "Probably both," said. "But that does not change my answer. These people are not going with you. If you want them, you will have to go through me." The laughter stopped. Leaned forward, his eyes narrow. "You cannot be serious. I have 12 warships. You have one patrol vessel. You will die in minutes." "Maybe," said, "but you will lose ships before I fall. Are you willing to pay that price?" There was a long silence, his face twisted with anger. "You are insane." "I am human. We do not leave people behind. Now you can turn around and go home, or you can come and try to take these refugees. But I warn you, Commander, we may look small, we may look weak, but humans do not know how to give up. And we never, ever abandon those we have promised to protect." Stared at her for a long moment. Then he cut the communication. "Captain," Dongwu said, "they are moving to attack formation." Nodded. She had expected this. "Take us between the convoy and the fleet. All power to shields and weapons. Bai, I need everything this ship can give me." "She has got plenty left to give," Bai said, patting her console. "Show them what you can do, beautiful." The horizon's edge moved forward, alone against 12 warships. On the flagship, watched the tiny human ship position itself between his convoy and the enemy. One ship, 5 humans, standing against an entire fleet. "They are going to die for us," whispered. "No," said, though he was not sure he believed it. "Watch them. Watch what humans do." The battle began. The first ship fired a massive beam of energy. The horizon's edge rolled to the side, the beam passing so close it scorched the hull. Dongwu fired back, his shots precise and deadly. They hit the ship's engines, crippling it. "One down," he said. But 11 remained. They surrounded the human ship, firing from all directions. The horizon's edge twisted and turned like a dancer, avoiding what it could, absorbing what it could not. The shields flickered and sparked. "Shield at 60%, Bai reported. 50, 40. Pulled the ship into a spin, using the momentum to whip around behind another vessel. Dongwu fired, hitting the ship's weapon systems. It drifted away, useless. 2 down. They adapted. They formed a formation covering each other's weak spots. The horizon's edge took hits. Metal screamed. Systems failed. "Hull breach on deck 3, Bai called out. "Sealing it now. Come on, baby, hold together for me." Dongwu was hit by a piece of falling equipment. Blood ran down his face, but he did not leave his station. "I am fine, keep going." Sung ran to him, applying a quick bandage while Dongwu kept firing. "Hold still." "Cannot busy. You are bleeding." "I have more blood, keep going, Captain." Pushed the ship harder than it was meant to go. She used the asteroid field nearby, flying through gaps that should have been too small, leading ships into collisions with rocks. One enemy ship crashed into an asteroid and exploded. 3 down. The battle lasted for hours, or maybe it was minutes. Time lost meaning in the chaos of fire and noise. The horizon's edge took damage that should have destroyed it. Systems failed and were rerouted. Shields fell and were rebuilt with scraps and willpower. And through it all, the humans never stopped fighting. On his flagship, Commander watched with growing disbelief. He had lost 4 ships now, 4 ships to one small human vessel. His tactical officers were confused. His soldiers were scared. "What are they?" one officer asked. "How are they still fighting?" Did not answer. He was beginning to understand the warnings about humans, not the warnings about their strength or their weapons, the warnings about something worse. They did not give up. They did not know how. The horizon's edge was falling apart. Its hull was torn open in 3 places. Its engines were failing. Half its weapons were destroyed, but it kept fighting. It kept protecting the convoy. "Commander," his tactical officer said, "our ships are refusing to advance. The crews are afraid." Looked at the human ship, barely holding together, still firing, still flying, still refusing to die. And he made a decision. "Retreat," he said. "Sir." "Retreat, all ships fall back, we are leaving." The fleet turned and fled. On the horizon's edge, the crew watched them go. The bridge was filled with smoke. Everyone was wounded. Sparks fell from broken wires, but they were alive. The convoy was safe. Slumped in her chair, exhausted beyond words. "Is everyone okay?" "We are all alive," Sung said. "Barely. We need serious repairs." The convoy asked. "Untouched, every ship is safe." Closed her eyes and let out a breath she felt like she had been holding for hours. They had done it. 5 humans against 12 warships, and they had won. On the flagship there was silence, then cheering, crying, praying. Watched the broken human ship floating in space, smoke pouring from its wounds, and felt tears running down his face. They had stood alone against impossible odds, for strangers, for people they had never met, for people who had been taught to fear them. "Why?" whispered to himself. "Why would anyone do that?" He did not understand, but he knew in that moment that everything he believed about humans had been wrong. Help echoed through the stars. The most feared species responded. Part 5. 3 weeks later, the convoy reached New Haven, a human colony world on the edge of explored space. The planet was green and blue, covered with forests and oceans, with cities that shined silver in the sunlight. It was beautiful. It was safe. It was home, or the closest thing to home they had felt in months. Ambassador stood on the ground of this new world and breathed air that did not smell like recycled metal. Children ran past him, laughing for the first time in weeks. Old ones sat in the sunlight and cried with relief. Families walked through the settlement that humans had quickly built for them, touching walls and doors and windows as if they could not believe any of it was real. Captain stood beside him, watching the refugees explore their new home. Her arm was in a sling. She had broken it during the battle and refused to let Sung treat it until every patient was stable. That was 2 days later. "How do you feel?" asked. Turned to look at her. This small human who had risked everything for strangers, who had fought against impossible odds, who had refused to leave them even when death seemed certain. "I do not have words," he said. "In my language there is no word for what you did. We have words for trade, for alliance, for protection bought with payment. But there is no word for this, for helping simply because help was needed." Smiled that small smile he had come to recognize. "We have a word, several actually: compassion, kindness, duty, love." "Love, you do not know us." "We did not need to know you. We just needed to know you were suffering." Shook his head slowly. "Everything we believed about humans was wrong. The galaxy fears you, but they fear the wrong thing." Raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "They fear your strength, your endurance, your fighting ability. Those things are impressive, yes, but they are not what makes humans truly frightening. Turn to face her fully. What makes humans frightening is this: your compassion, your refusal to abandon those in need, because it means that anyone who hurts the innocent will have to face you, and you will never stop coming. Was quiet for a long moment, then she laughed softly. I suppose that is one way to look at it. Far away in the grand chambers of the Galactic Council sat before a panel of representatives from 50 different species. The room was tense. News of the battle had spread across the galaxy. Everyone knew what had happened. Everyone wanted answers. Said the representative from the Federation, "You broadcast warnings about humans across the entire galaxy. You told us they were monsters to be avoided at all costs. Now we learn that humans risked their lives to save 40,000 refugees while the rest of us did nothing. Explain yourself." Shifted uncomfortably in his seat. My warnings were based on documented facts about human biology and history. They are dangerous predators from a death world. And yet they use that danger to protect the helpless, another representative said. While we stood by and let innocents suffer because we were afraid of the who are the real monsters here? The chamber erupted in arguments. Species that had ignored the distress call now felt shame. Species that had believed the warnings about humans now questioned everything. The galactic order was shifting, and everyone could feel it. On New Haven, the children who had met during the rescue gathered around her every day. They begged for more stories about Earth, more pictures of animals, more videos of human life. Taught them human songs. She showed them how to play human games. She told them about holidays like birthdays and how humans celebrated by giving gifts and eating cake together. "Why do you give gifts on birthdays?" one child asked. "To show people we love them," said, "to remind them that they matter to us." The children thought about this. Then one of them, the brave little girl who had approached first, held out a small piece of metal she had shaped into a star. "For you," she said, "because you came when no one else would, because you showed us that humans are not monsters." Took the metal star and her eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, I will keep this forever." Decided to send a message across the galaxy. He used every communication channel he could access. He wanted everyone to hear his words. "This is Ambassador of the People. 3 months ago my world was destroyed. My people became refugees, hunted by the Empire, ignored by everyone else. We sent distress calls to every species we knew. We begged for help from anyone who could hear us. 30 species heard our cries. None of them answered. And then when we had lost all hope, a human ship responded. 5 humans, 1 small vessel. They came to us not for money, not for alliance, not for power. They came because we asked for help. That was enough for them. They treated our sick. They fixed our ships. They fed our hungry and comforted our children. And when they came with 12 warships to destroy us, those 5 humans stood alone against them. They fought for hours. They bled for us. They nearly died for us, for strangers, for people who had been taught to fear them. When we cried for help, the most feared species in the galaxy answered. Now I ask you all, why were we afraid of compassion? Why did we fear kindness? The humans showed us what true strength looks like. It is not in weapons or warships. It is in the courage to help others even when it costs you everything. Perhaps we should all learn from them." The message spread across the galaxy like fire. It was played in council chambers and market squares, in homes and schools, on ships and stations. Everywhere people listened. Everywhere people thought about what they had believed and what they had done. And slowly things began to change. Other distress calls began to receive responses. Species that had been too afraid to help others started to reach out. Old enemies considered peace. The galaxy was not transformed overnight, but seeds were planted. Seeds of compassion. Seeds of change. On New Haven, Captain received new distress calls every day. Some were from species in trouble. Others were from species that simply wanted to meet humans, to see for themselves if the stories were true. "You have become famous," told her. The whole galaxy knows your name. Shook her head. I did not do anything special. I just answered a call for help. Any human would have done the same. That said, is what makes you special. The horizon's edge was repaired and ready to fly again. Crew gathered on the bridge looking out at the stars. So many worlds, so many species, so many people who might need help someday. Where to next, Captain? Dongwu asked. Looked at the communication console where new distress signals waited. New people in trouble. New chances to make a difference. Wherever we are needed, she said. Let us go remind the galaxy what humans are made of. The ship lifted off from New Haven, rising into the sky, joining the stars. Watched it go, the children beside him, waving goodbye to their human friends. Across the galaxy, the message continued to spread. It became a story told to children at bedtime. It became a lesson taught in schools. It became a hope for those who had none. When all hope is lost, call the humans. They will come. They will fight for you. They will bleed for you. They will stand between you and the darkness. Because that is who they are. That is what they do. They always come. And they never, ever give up.